AITA for using my husband's savings to repurchase the bike that he took from our daughter? My daughter received a bike from her uncle, my brother, on her 11th birthday. She was over the moon and excited to use it because it was on her wish list for so long. Days ago, I discovered that my husband reached out to my brother to ask for the recipient for the bike and returned it to the store and kept the money for himself while my daughter was at school. The bike was at home. My daughter and I got home and she started crying after noticing the bike was gone. My husband was home at the time. He told me he returned the bike and got money in return to spend on something useful for us since the bike was just there as a distraction, and there was no need for it now since we're the dead of winter. I was aggravated and lost it on him, saying it wasn't his, didn't come from him, and he didn't pay for it, so he had no right to touch it, especially knowing our daughter's been wanting it for a long time and my brother was decent enough to buy it for her despite barely having money to get him by. I told him what he did was theft and insisted he hand over the money to me so I could repurchase it, but he said he spent it on stuff for the house and doesn't have any money left now, but I knew about the money he was stashing away in the bedroom that he forbade me from using, and I took some of it and went out to repurchase the bike while he was out the next day. He found out and verbally lashed out at me, saying I should have never touched the money he was saving for himself, which isn't much, but I lashed right back that I had to so I could repurchase the bike he took from under our daughter. He explained that he didn't keep the money for himself and instead spent it for necessities for our home, but he was at fault for taking the bike in the first place and he was responsible for getting it back. He yelled at me for almost 10 minutes, then stormed outside and started smoking. My daughter asked why her dad was upset and that she no longer wants the bike if dad doesn't want her to have it, but I assured her that's not the case and told her she shouldn't feel guilty and to just focus on enjoying her bike. My husband hasn't stopped grilling me about how I disrespected and undermined him and managed to make our daughter hate him after making him look like the bad guy. I again said he shouldn't have touched the bike. End of the story. He's called me thief and juvenile for taking money from his savings and being sneaky about it. AITA for the way I got the bike back? NTA. Your husband stole your daughter's gift and you made it right. And he's hiding money you aren't allowed to touch? He sounds incredibly awful and controlling. NTA. He can't afford necessities but he has a stash of money for himself and he's smoking? Really? NTA, but you know you've got much bigger problems than the bike and this particular money incident. Your husband is so piss poor he has to steal from your kids, yet he somehow has enough money to smoke? NTA. But you're married to a huge one. NTA. But like others, I'm also wondering why you're with this man. He seems to care only about himself and not even a little bit about you or your daughter. Are you with him for your daughter? Because trust me, she doesn't need that kind of drama in her life. It's better to not have a dad than a dad that steals from you for his own fun. Info: why does he have savings for himself if you're so broke you have to sell your daughter's presents to buy things you need for the house? This is a genuine question because for most parents selling a child's presents bought by someone else would be a line they would do a lot to avoid crossing. On the legal side, he is allowed to sell his daughter bike. She is minor, so it is his legal right. But in the same time, if you don't have a prenup, you have the same legal right to take every penny from his savings. BC all savings are legally your common savings. He cannot use double standards on his actions and on your actions. Either you are both thieves, or none of you. But this sub is not about legality but about morality. Your husband is TA and you are NTA. Edit. I have to correct it. Gifts are an exception. Parent has custodial right, can take it away, forbid to use, but not ownership rights. So, your husband is a thief. The money stash he forbade me from touching isn't much anyway, but he says it's huge deal that I went behind his back and stole instead of talking to him about it like a rational adult. Look up financial abuse. Your husband is abusive. NTA. NTA. Why are you with this man? What the hell? NTA 100% ***. What your husband did was completely shitty and any consequences they face are their problem, not yours. If he really cared that much about getting the necessities as he claims, why did he have to sell her bike rather than use his stash money? Cheeky fucker. Did your husband actually give you a list of what these necessities he bought were or just say the money was gone? I would want to see what he actually bought, not to excuse him but to see if it actually went on what he said. Also, have you told your brother what he did? If I were them, I'd be incredibly pissed off about it. NTA. Why are you with this man? What redeeming qualities does he have? From this post it seems like he steals from your child, disregards your opinion, speaks down to you, etc. NTA. Yet. Get that nasty, manipulative, conniving, verbally abusive asshole away from you and your child. NTA, but you will be if you don't get your kid out of this abusive house. He sounds financially and verbally abusive. As a former kid who had a financially and verbally, emotionally abusive father, and physically, but I don't know if that applies here, the damage is long-lasting and my therapy bills are high. Get out. Edit. Grammar. NTA. Your husband stole from his own child and then yelled at you over it. Time to re-evaluate your relationship with him. NTA, but I'm not sure I believe this is real. YTA for being with someone who treats your child like this. There's zero chance this is the only incident like this. Do better for your daughter and for yourself. Edit. Initially said op was ta for allowing this man in your house. House is presumably both of theirs. NTA, and what is his problem? Why does he have a stash of cash, just for him? Is this a marriage? Is this a family? Sure. People should have some extra in personal accounts, but this looks like he's planning to skip the country with no paper trail. You're a thief? He stole his own daughter's bicycle. How did you make him look bad? Again, he stole his own daughter's bicycle to get money for himself. Juvenile? What do you call a whole-ass allegedly adult man who steals his own daughter's bicyle to get money for himself? You really need to examine this marriage closely. Gambling? Drugs? Mistress? He's gaslighting you. Throw the whole damn beast away. NTA, but holy crap op, your husband sounds controlling. That is a red flag. He is basically manipulating you guys into thinking he's using the money on you guys, but really it's for himself. Leave him.